Hello and welcome back to Supercoach Swordplay. My name is Spillsy, and today, what I'm going to be doing is a bit of a team update. I sort of did one, I suppose, with Shorty, if you want to count that. It was a bit of a team by team discussion in depth, but this is a proper team update. I saw one from DR, I saw one from Janath, so I think it's my turn to sort of produce a little bit of what's going on in my side. And look, I actually haven't made too many changes, I'll be honest. Like a few structure changes, but there's a lot of players that I'm particularly happy with. So yeah, I think we'll just get stuck straight into it. I mean, why not waste any time? So the only real thing that has changed in defence is, I suppose, the omission of Sam Flanders. So yeah, after weighing it up, it's a funny one because I was so confident on Flanders, and he was someone that I almost threw away the key with. But I think trying to make other adjustments to the side with that price point was quite difficult. He does have the buy as well. That's another reason why I haven't got Whitfield in here. Otherwise, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I'd probably almost rather Whitfield over Jack Sinclair. But it's that buy, and that's something that I'll dive into a little bit later on. But yeah, the omission of Sam Flanders, like there's a few things there. I think he's carrying a back injury as well. Apparently has been since like just before Christmas time. So I think he's on a modified program. It's just a couple of things. So yeah, and then you'll see in the guideline as well. I'll do a little bit of I won't go too much into it because the guideline is coming out very soon. Kudos to the effort that all the boys have put in. It's been a lot of work. Like I'm just doing the player heads, and yeah, it's just crazy. Like paragraph after paragraph comparing this bloke to that bloke, and there was one there with Whitfield and Flanders, and JG put up a really good point saying I didn't even think about it. I don't know why, because it's so obvious. So Rioli and Noel coming to the club, obviously going to push Flanders probably off halfback. And we know what Flanders is like. He's super versatile. He can play off half forward, through the midfield, on the wing, half back, probably where he does his best work. But yeah, very, very versatile, which is really good for the Gold Coast Suns. It's bloody great. But for Supercoach, yeah, not so much. So I have dropped Flanders for now. It's just a fair price to cough up. And look, there was one elephant in the room that wasn't in my team come the first picker. I just wanted to see how things went. But yeah, the more I looked at it, the more I hated it. You'll see it in a moment. So it's a bit of a like for like. So Flanders come out and Jordan Clark come in. Now, why do I like Jordan Clark? So he's another one that's got a really good buy. I think he can push top six defense. And he's one of those ones where I don't reckon the ceiling is as high as a Whitfield, as a Ryan. These guys that are well over 600K, but you're saving a little bit of money. And I think he's going to get a few more kickouts. I think the talk is that Ryan obviously has been the man for so long, but I reckon those kick out percentages will drop down a little bit more for Clark. And even if they don't, I still think he's just going to be a really safe as houses pick. So he's someone that I'm just really happy to lock in because, yeah, particularly in the back half of the year, he was great for my side. He's just someone that I just had there in defense, caused me little to none issues. I never really worried about him. So it's one of those ones where you don't really have to overanalyze having him in your side. You don't have to overthink it. You can just sort of have him there as a bit of a placeholder. And there's plenty of great options in defense that I like, but a lot of them have the buy, like your Flanders and Whitfield types. And there's Matty Roberts as well. He's another one. Well, I have seen a couple of teams. So there's a few players, and Dacos, plantar fasciitis. I may as well quickly touch on this because I don't think I've really talked about it too much. So I think Dacos' ownership is still pretty high, and there's a chance he does get up for round one. I had plantar fasciitis doing athletics, not this year, but it was actually the last year. And it happened, I reckon, around late December or like back from holidays, and it lingered on for so long. It cooked me through footy season. I found it extremely hard to run at 100%. It didn't hurt too much, but it just lingered and it bothered me. It can take, I stretched it out a fair bit. I had tennis balls rolling on my feet. I have inner soles for my shoes I still wear at work to this date, and they are very helpful. It does a lot of work. But yeah, moral of the story there is, yeah, plantar fasciitis isn't just one of those injuries that goes on for 6 to 8 weeks. It can linger on for up to a year, if not longer, if it's not managed properly. And look, Nick Dacos, the ultimate professional, we can't take that away from him. He'll definitely do the right thing by it. But in terms of starting him, there's just absolutely no way. He'll probably run around 70-80% in a game situation, because it does cook you. A bit of a ramble there on Nick Dacos, but yeah, there's just so many defenders that aren't in my team that I do like, and definitely upgrade targets. But I'm looking at a starting side and really trying to make sure that we're showing a bit of diversification, I think is the word. I know Supercoach Edge Damo uses that word really effectively, and I think it helps. It helps quite a long way, particularly when you're looking at buy preparation. And yeah, it's been too many times, particularly last year. I think I got found out a few times just picking players that had early buys, and it does come to fruition. So yeah, just some stuff to sort of remember there. So Clark is a like for like that come in for Flanders. Sheasel has remained, will remain. I don't think he's going anywhere. Yeah, he's just an unbelievable player. We say it every year. He's a safe as houses sort of pick. You're paying for what you get. I'm surprised he doesn't have defender mid DPP. I think he was really close to getting it. Regardless, he's just a lock. I think he's one of the most highly owned picks in Supercoach, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he's not going anywhere. Jack Sinclair, he's one that I'm pretty happy with, but I'm not as happy with him as I was a month ago. Does that sound weird? I don't know. It's just something about him. I reckon the carnage that St Kilda have had to deal with, particularly with Mateus, that's been well documented. Does Sinclair push up the ground a little bit more? There's just so many defenders that can go in there, and Sinclair, DR touched on it, but Sinclair's is one of those ones where you'd actually rather him behind the ball and not in the midfield. So he's a wait and see. I do like Sinclair. I'm happy to sort of just lock him in for now, because he does have a great buy, but one to watch. I want to see exactly where he plays. I feel like he gets pushed up the ground definitely a little bit more than he did in the back half of last year. But yeah, he's a safe pick. You can't go wrong with him. I think he's top 6 still. I just don't know about the ceiling. We'll wait and see. And Clark we did touch on. So yeah, really solid, I think. I rate the top 3 here. So, like, I think Ryan, just too overpriced. Talked about Dacos, Whitfield and Flanders. They have a buy. So it's slim pickings at this stage. And I think in terms of players without the buy and their roles, I think this is the top 3 here for my liking, but particularly to start off with. And yeah, I can't really see it changing. If one of them goes, it'll be probably for a mid-pricer or a rookie that's come up, because I know we're going to get a few rookies in defence this year, so that's exciting in itself. But I'm super confident with where things are at with the premiums. Speaking of premiums, we've got Callum Mills here. He's not a premium at the moment, but he's averaged 116 in 2022, which is just crazy stuff. To see him at 357k is an absolute steal. Now, I heard some reports. Gee, I should have done my research. What's poor form? Couldn't find a source, but I did see somewhere on X, get around X as well, unreal Twitter community, particularly with Supercoach. But I did see something where I think Dean Cox really wants Callum Mills to jump back into that midfield. So he might be that 4th cog behind Heaney and Warner. And that actually might be it. I'm not really sure, but I think the CBAs are going to go up. He's been in there. And we know what Callum Mills can do in the midfield. So he's going to get DPP as well. And for that price, I mean, it's just impossible to go past. Does have an early buy. It doesn't matter. He's a mid-pricer. Just lock him in. And I think like worst case scenario, he could almost be your D7 if you're really looking at that sort of luxury. But we can keep him for as long as we need. And mate, it could even be a premium. We never know with Mills. We've seen it before. It's been a pretty ordinary year and a half for him. But he's one that I'm super confident with, and one of very few that I haven't actually left my side. So yeah, pretty bullish on Callum Mills. I think there was another head-to-head with Mills and Matty Roberts, and I said Mills by the length of the Flemington Straight which is probably a little bit of an exaggeration. But yeah, when that comes out, feel free to read my thoughts on him. But I'm pretty keen on Callum Mills, and yeah, I can't really see him going anywhere. So yeah, we love that. Speaking of guys that have not gone anywhere, these two, so Allen and Sardo Holy, I think you lock him in. I think West Coast are depleted. They're not going to have a choice. They got their man. He was the first round draft pick that they wanted, the home talent from Western Australia. So yeah, really lucky that or even fortunate that they snagged him up in the draft. So I think he's 66% owned, so extremely high and for good reason. So yeah, Allen should play, and Sardo Holy, he's just a professional. I look at the Essendon Instagram all the time, being a Dons man, and he features in a lot of posts. His work rate is exceptional. Averages, 29 disposals and 2 or 3 goals a game, playing that sort of mid-half back role in the VFL. It's just unbelievable stuff. You just lock him in. I hope he plays. I really do hope he plays round 1, because there's a lot of mouths to feed down there. But something's got to change at Essendon. So I don't see a way where we don't persist with him. So yeah, I think you can lock in these 2 rookies for now. At the end of the day, rookies are rookies. They're just placeholders. Don't let it muddle up your structure, because I have at times, and I've gone, do I have a 180k rookie here, or do I drop him down to a 120k rookie and then get a mid 500k player up to a 600k? So it's just sort of like that. But I'm trying not to sort of worry about that and just back in the structure that I think is going to work. But yeah, Leake and Smith, I think Smith gets an opportunity. Her Leake's been going pretty well. But there's others as well. There's Buslinger as well, who could well and truly come into the side. And here's another one I can't really think of off the top of my head. I think Ben Patton. I think I saw Patton in DR's side. So he might get a bit of a shout as well. So I don't think it's going to be too dry with defence rookies, particularly this season, as it was last year. Last year was a bit difficult. I mean, Gibcus, Reed, Caulfield, give us a spell. What's going on there? So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with defence. It's probably the line that's changed the least, I reckon. I think it's been one change. So, yeah, Clark and Flanders. That's basically all I've really changed there. Rookies sort of alternate, but it's just whatever at the end of the day. All right, midfield. Oh, yep, you guys go quick look at the Rucks. I'll get into that in a moment. But the midfield, we're looking at going really light. And I don't like it because there's just, I don't know if I trust the rookies, but I trust the draft. And I was sort of spooked a couple of weeks ago watching a George team update. He knows his stuff, the great man. I mean, how good's Fancy Take TV? We love him, but he posted a really great point about how many rookies were sub. You know, he looked at his team that he started with, the started round 1 last year, and almost, I reckon 80% of them were subs at one point or another. But I think this could be a super draft just in terms of midfield talent, particularly what we saw in the first round. And I think I'm pretty confident backing in a lot of these guys. So we'll touch on them in a moment. So the Bonds made way into my team. So almost a like for like. He's the Uber that it was Flanders technically. The money that I saved from Clark, I invested sort of in Bonapelli. Butters was there, paid up a little bit extra. I just think Bont's the man. He's the safe captain. He's got North straight off the bat. Don't really want to miss out on it. His ownership is way higher than I thought. 44%, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even 45%. So to not have that in my side with someone, I don't even need to elaborate on this pick, but with someone that's had such a high ceiling, such a fantastic model of consistency for so many years now. Stiff not to win a Brownlow, but we won't get into that because it's controversial, and I'll just tee off because I think he's the best player in the game. I really do. If there's anyone that I want at the Bombers from any club, it would be the Bont. I think he's the most dangerous, most damaging, the best accumulator. He's just a bull at the same time, absolute poise. So I don't want to start this year with not owning the Bont. And sure, he's expensive, but I'm going to cough it up. It is what it is. So I'm happy with the Bont. And then it was Butters here for a long time. Have flirted with Sarong, but I'm going to back in Brayshaw. So obviously had the foot injury the first half of the year. I still haven't done my player head-to-head with Brayshaw versus Sarong, but bit of a spoiler here. I have gone Brayshaw. You're saving 32K. And I think Sarong is probably maybe just a touch ahead of him in terms of where he's going to finish up with total points. probably a better player, but I think a huge tag threat. And we saw that a few times. We saw it a couple of times where Sarong just got caught undone, and I owned him, I think, all season. I can't remember starting with him, but I did own him for a fair chunk, at least 2/3 of the season. And there was a lot of times where he did get tagged, where I think Andy could possibly have his best year. He looks fit. He looks hungry. He's at the right age. I think the Dockers are on an absolute tear. They've got nothing to lose. And Brayshaw, he's not getting any attention. A real philosophy that I really wanted to focus on in the lessons learned from last season when we did our review was to start players that were non-tag threats. So locking in, so Bonampale and Brayshaw come to mind straight away. They're two players that I don't think you can really tag them at all. Where Butter's a lot more expensive. He's hard not to start because he's got a very easy run in the first sort of month of footy and a couple of home games over gather rounds. So that's one that I really do want in my side. I just can't really work out how to get him. But starting players that aren't going to get tagged, like I think Merritt and Sarong, all these guys, all these uber mids, that they're just the obvious most damaging players. They get tagged. But Brayshaw, there's another one, Dunkley as well. I really like Dunkley. If he didn't have that bye, Brisbane didn't have that bye, really annoys me there because there's a lot of players from Brisbane that I actually really do like and wouldn't mind starting. But Dunkley's one of those ones where you just lock him in. He's going to average 112 to 115. The ceiling won't be there, but the floor won't be there either. He's never getting tagged. And I think we'll see that from Brayshaw. He's just a consistent pick that I think is just going to get the job done week in, week out. He'll punch out the occasional 137 to 140, but then we might see, I reckon, high 80s, low 90s occasionally, but you get that from any midfielder. So I think with the money you save, I think Brayshaw's fine. So I've been really hot on Brayshaw basically all off season, and I only just sort of brought him back in today. He was out of the side for a few days with Butters, but I made a little bit of a structure change that I will show you later on. But I like these two. I think these two are me boys. So you got your uber mid and then a little bit of a value uber mid. I think Brayshaw, I don't know if he can be top 8. I definitely think he can be top 10. So we'll see. Low expectations, but I really hope this pick works out. And I know DR's hot on him as well. So yeah, great minds really do think alike. So yeah, I love to see how Brayshaw can handle himself this year. It's gonna be exciting. Clary, there's not really much to be said here. I think it's just there's just no risk with it. I think he's bottomed out. I really do not need to go into this pick. Has a great buy. If it's not really going well, I guess we can just flip him when the time comes. But I'd rather just start him and go down on the sinking ship with the competition if it doesn't work out. But I'm not prepared to antipod him and then watch him go high 100s, 108, 109, whatever he produces, whether he's got 118, 120 in him again. I don't know. We'll see what happens because we know what Clary's done in his prime. Looks far from it. But yeah, saw a really interesting clip of him at training, just sort of selling the dummy. Looked a little bit thinner. Not a lot thinner, but yeah, for Clary, looked in great shape. He doesn't need to be elite. We know what sort of player he is. He's not meant to be agile and fast. He's an inside bull. So I think if he can keep ticking off those key fundamentals and looking good at training, and he has been, the video was very promising. I think we just lock him in. Peterlin, he's entered my side. I cannot remember who was here for my first team. Oh, I think I got it on my phone. I reckon it was Will Ashcroft. So I've actually got it here in front of me, just like for this sort of situation in case I forget. So Will Ashcroft's gone. There's a bit of a Matty Roberts to it. You're paying, it's awkward, isn't it? 440K. It's awkward. You pick an Ashcroft to be a keeper. You want him, you get a bit of value, sure. It's a bit like picking Will Day as well. You want him to be top 10. I don't think there's enough value in the pick. As good as a pick I reckon he's going to be, I really think he could break out, and I'm fully prepared to. And I wouldn't blame anyone for going there because I think he's going to be a pretty popular selection. I just reckon that I picked Ollie Wines last year. I started with him at 460K. I knew what he was capable of because most of his career, particularly from 2021 to 2023, he has lurked around that high 500k mark. So I thought there was 100k in it, and you get me some really nice early on-field scores, but it didn't work out. He hovered around 480k, and it was a failure. And I think that we might see a little bit of that with Ashcroft. The ceiling will be there, but I just don't know. I don't know if I really want to pick him at that price. So Peterling came in because he's 350k. So you're picking him as a stepping stone. And it looks good. It looks really good at the Crows. He's playing mid. They're thin. They're bloody thin in their midfield, Adelaide. And George will allude to this one. But they need someone like him just to give him that real grunt, a little bit of a bull. Like, just chuck him wherever you want. But primarily inside mid, I think is where we'll see James Peatling, and should be a really popular selection as well. I think Oliver and Peatling, it's super low risk for what you're paying for him. But then when you're going up to a Will Day and an Ashcroft, where they're both around 450k, it's 100k extra. 100k. And there's Ollie Hollands as well. He's been in and out of my side. Could be playing off halfback. I did listen to SEN, and they had Jack Silvani on there last Friday, Fireball Friday. Great show. It's good to have that back. But yeah, Sauce basically said it'll be him playing off halfback if he's fit, and Ollie Hollands as well. But I've got to see it to believe it. I've got to see what he looks like first. I'm not paying 330k for a player I've never seen in the role. I want to back in Peatling, who I know is going to be in the midfield, and Oliver a little bit more. We know what we can get. So it's that awkward sort of price. But you really want to make sure you nail your mid prices, because if they don't work out, you're in all sorts. So I won't ramble on too much there, but pretty happy with this sort of four. You got your two Ubers, a couple of mid prices, a good balance, and then your Uber rookies, your first round draft picks, no mucking around at all. So Finn O'Sullivan, I want to say he's a bit of a placeholder. I've heard he's playing a little bit of halfback at North, and we know what North are like. They love to play their rookies off halfback. Bit of first year sheezel about it. Probably not as good, but I reckon he slots straight into that side. And North, well, they need him. They need a player like him. Great by foot, a really crafty midfielder. I think he played for Xavier. I saw a game. I think it was Xavier and St. Kev's. And I think Finn was almost best on ground. Just looked elite. So what do you read out of that? I think his junior numbers are pretty good. You'll see more of that in the guide, which will come out very, very soon. But yeah, O'Sullivan's just a bit of a placeholder, because I think he'll slot straight in round one and have a good role. I don't know what he's going to average. Hopefully at least 70. I don't know yet. But I don't know. I think it's just a low risk pick. He seems pretty durable, and yeah, I think North will actually be all right this year. Don't know if you play too much mid, but I reckon there's a spot off halfback for him that he can slot straight into. So he's a bit of a wait and see. Smiley was in there. Bit of an injury scare. I don't know. Will he be fit for round one? I'm not sure. But yeah, don't mind it. Jagger the Bagger, he's looking good. Should play round one. He's a bull. They've given him the number 7. High raps. I mean, to be a first round draft pick and just get I don't know what it is with me and Guernsey numbers. I'm just obsessed with him. And I think it's a big deal when a player gets a really good number from a big club like Carlton as well. I think he'll slot straight in the side and play some really good footy. So he's one of the more highly owned players in the game, and for good reason. So yeah, we're going to back in Jagger. Harvey Langford, I don't know what it is with Melbourne's social media team. They've stepped up their game. Like they're never going to be as funny as GWS, but just content, elite content. Saw a video of Harvey Langford just do the don't argue. I can't remember who it was, and then stepped around a couple of players. He's a bull. This bloke is so strong. And whether he plays midfield straight away, I don't know. So if Truck gets up round one, he'll be in there. Oliver will definitely be in there. Viney, I think Langford could be that 4th. But if he's that 4th or 5th, he could also be a sub-risk. So I don't know if Harvey Langford, but I love what I've seen so far. And oh, excuse me, too much talking, too much yapping. My buddy Yeah, I absolutely go on tangents sometimes. Sometimes it's bloody unreal, but I like Harvey Langford. I think he could be an absolute bull for the D's and play round one. He's one of those high end Uber rookies that I could definitely see just slot straight in. So we'll wait and see on him. Bit of a placeholder. There are other options for that price. So if things don't work out, we can jump on to Sid Draper or avert back to Smiley if he gets up for round one. So there's plenty of options. These Uber rookies are just placeholders, but in terms of structure, I really want to make sure that I'm paying up for these blokes because I don't want to miss out and then have these guys just go on absolute tears and I'm stuck with these dud rookies. Hence why I'm so against using a loophole. But I don't know yet. I'm pretty happy with the structure anyway. It seems pretty established. So Travalia should play around one. He's very highly owned too. I think he's up there with Jagger, very highly owned mids, particularly in the rookie department. So yeah, I hope he plays. Good team to play for as well. Should get a lot of the footy. So yeah, and a handy DPP. I like having him in the midfield just so when buyers come in, you can flip them around with these sort of blokes here. So it works out. I'm pretty happy with this. So it wasn't always in the midfield. I think I've just put him there. I can't remember why. I think I wanted Caleb Smith in my defense and then base price rookies in the midfield are few and far between. So I think it was change. So yeah, Travalia's come in. Sheldrick and Kako, we know what Sheldrick's capable of. He should be pretty highly owned. If he gets up, fantastic. If he doesn't, he's expensive, so it shouldn't be too hard to find another option just as good. And Kako, I don't want to say he's a lock, but the Bombers need a full pocket because Gresham is not good enough. Menzies is not good enough. And that's harsh because I'm sure at their best, they're fantastic players. But Kako is electric. I'm telling you, his numbers, I should have written it down somewhere. That's Janath's department. I'll stay out of that. He's the man. He'll be able to tell you. But Kako's junior numbers are pretty unbelievable. Super dangerous. And I think if the Dons go on a bit of a tear like they did, particularly in the first half of last year, I reckon Kako could get on the end of it. I just don't know if I really want to field him. It's a dangerous role, full pocket, so it'll be up and down. But I think the scores where he does go up, if we can get a loop on him somehow, a lot of prime time Essendon. Don't know why. Don't know what it is with the Dons, but we get a lot of prime time games, particularly this year. If one of these rookies dies, he's someone that I'd love to just chuck the early emergency on and just see what he does. So I'm super bullish with Kako. Barely left my team. Going to be pretty fun to watch as well. As a Dons man, I've got the goggles on, obviously, at the moment, but yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I think it'll be a great pick too. So yeah, we'll wait and see with him. But I reckon it'll be a good Supercoach pick and yeah, have him in the midfield as well. Makes it really handy for a lot of the forward players with the bye. So Kako can come on and slot in pretty nicely. Murphy Reid, he's a pod. So I don't know a whole lot about him, but he did slide quite a fair bit in last year's draft. I think they touted him that 10 to 15 range and slid in the 20s. The only problem with him is I think he's definitely an inside mid, but he's at the Dockers. And look, Neil Erasmus can't even get a game. So yeah, maybe just a bit of a placeholder. I don't know yet. There's not many mids that I like that aren't above 150k. So he's just sort of there for now. Could change. I know there's Gross as well from West Coast who could get a game as well. But look, these rookies are just placeholders. It is what it is at the end of the day. So we'll have a look at the rucks here. Yeah, no more Daconing. Yeah, sorry, Robbie Williams. Your boy's out of the side. Why did I do this? I don't know. I really don't know. I like the Daconing pick. I think he's going to be a great selection. But he's so highly owned. He's in every bloody man and his dogs team. I think he's the second most highest owned ruck. And I watched DR's team update, and there's something about DR. I don't know what it is. He's a Supercoach guru, and he always convinces me. And I think Gorn and Cherry are R1, R2, but you're paying a lot extra for that. And I think Gorn will keep going. Again, the Melbourne preseason videos, seeing a lot of Gorn in there. I don't even follow Melbourne on Instagram, but somehow they come up in my recommendations and Gorn's moving really well. There appears to be no real carnage with him, where we know Draconian's had a few scares, but at least we're gone. DR alluded to this. The price point is expensive, but if it doesn't work out particularly early, it shouldn't be too hard to find a replacement. It's not like you're picking Draconian and it goes bad, and then you got to find 100K to get in a Gorn or a Cherry or an English or whoever you decide to go with. I just think set and forget in the rucks is pretty key. And until it goes bad, I think we just ride the wave. I'm fully expecting him to fall down at some point. We've got the trades to do so. It's not going to be like last year. I'm pretty firm where I'm not going to sideways trade Nick Martin and Hayden Young and Brodie Grundy in the first 4 weeks of the season. I learned my lessons from there. So Gorn will be one where if he does get injured, okay, you just cut your losses. But I think until then, I think he's definitely R2 behind Cherry. For total points on the board, I'm really happy with it. And I had a bit of money to play with as well because, yeah, the structure, I've been pretty happy with it. A guns and rookies type structure, but good rookies. Rookies that I don't think are going to bleed and turn into dead rookies, making sure that covers there. So we'll see what happens. Cherry hasn't left the side. He's a lock. He's probably the biggest lock. Throw away the key type stuff with Tristan Cherry. And then obviously Boyd's come in. Will he play? I'm not sure. But if he doesn't, I'm really looking at like maybe an Archer Reed, someone that is going to play and be a bit of a slow burn on the bench. I don't want a loophole, but if it was, it'd be R3. But if we can get something going, that'd be unreal. And the forward line. Yeah, so Carnage City in the forward line, it's the line that I was most comfortable with and I didn't want to touch. But then Mateus goes down and then I see all this stuff with Jason Horne-Francis that he's played in games where he scored too well when they were just too contested and gotten a bit lucky. But I've heard Horne-Francis having a great season. But if you don't pick him, who else are you picking? I mean, what else is there? He's just one I just want to lock and just not worry about him. I'm not a big fan of the pick. I don't like the pick, but for structure, for forward depth, I just think it's a low-risk pick. And if it goes bad, it's just whatever. He's highly owned. I think the inevitable would be him being a top 6 forward, if not top 2 or 3. I really believe. And another preseason under his belt, another year in the gym, another year on the track. I just think there's a little bit of upside with the pick as well. So, yeah, Horne-Francis has entered back in my team. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's me wallet. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I did start with him. But he went out of my team for a long time. Let's have a look here. Yeah, I'm just having a look at the video I did with Shorty. So I did have Horne-Francis in that side. So technically, he hasn't left my team, but there was a good week or two there where he wasn't in there. I just wasn't interested. And who I had instead, I think when Filippo got injured, brought him back in. But I had Hugo Garcia, and I was purely sold off that through George. And I love the points he raised. But look, it's an awkward price as well. Marek is another one that he alluded to. He could be a good pick, playing halfback, still low 200s. It's a weird one. And then I had Tom Lynch. And I'll talk about Tom Lynch in a minute. But look, as far as Horne-Francis is concerned, I think he's extremely low-risk pick. And I just can't really see how it goes wrong unless he gets injured. But I think he's a top 6 forward. Nonetheless, and today, we brought in Isaac Rankin. So I think I had, what was it? It was another mid in the side. It might have been, I'll go up. I think it was, so I think it was O'Sullivan come in for Butters, or it might have been Strong. I think it was Butters, and a couple of moves on the bench. I think I had a base price rookie instead of Sheldrick. And then Rankin was Garcia or Lynch. I can't remember. But I did have Lynch in my side for about 2 hours. I realised I didn't like the pick. Sorry about the noise in the background. Yeah, I'm actually at my mates at the moment. Yeah, his niece is over. Long story, but yeah, she's yapping. So I do apologise if you can hear her on the background. But Rankin's come in today. Why has Rankin come in the side? So this is not so much because I like the pick. It just helps the structure. I don't want to muck around here. Because if it's not Rankin, it's Marek, it's Garcia, it's Tom Lynch, and I don't like the Tom Lynch pick. I've seen him in both DR's and Janath's side, and I can see the appeal. I really can. So key forward at 180k, the dream is just to get him flying out of the blocks, kick 4 or 5 against Carlton round 1, just really, really just have a great start to the year. And the flex position, it helps out his score. So if he drops an absolute turd of a score, it sort of fades out if it's really bad. But I have a bit of a rule with Supercoach. There's certain players that it's 10-foot pole territory. I wouldn't say it's a bit stiff on Tom Lynch just because of his price point and what he's capable of. But I'm putting him in the same regard as Zach Reed, Josh Gibcus, Charlie Dixon when he was in his prime. These guys are just, there's always something every single year. There's something, they're injured and they burn you. And Lynch is about 35% owned. I want to antipod him and I think he can make me pay. But I feel so much more comfortable backing in, let's just say a Harvey Langford instead of a base price rookie or a Finn O'Sullivan. He's the one that actually come in for Tom Lynch. I feel so much more comfortable with a first-year player, a high draft pick with a high ceiling, going to get a good role, durable from all reports, touch wood, early days. But I'd rather do that than back in Tom Lynch and then he just gets injured or just has a howler. And I know if he starts terribly, I'll be kicking myself and going, you should have backed your gut, Spillsy. What are you doing? So it's one of those ones where Rankin's going to come in at the moment just to help with the structure. And another reason I like the Rankin pick, I'm trying to find this actually. I should have sort of got this up. 2025. So we're going to have a look at his fixture. There's probably an easier way to do this. I don't know why. Why is it not there? I can't see it. Why can't I see? All I want to do is see who he's got. Hang on. This is a bit of a muck around. So we're going to have a look at Rankin and who he's playing like early. So round 1, I wish I was a little bit more prepared. I apologize. St Kilda round 1. I'm sorry, Roscoe. I really am, man. But I don't rate the Saints too much this year. And maybe I listened to a little bit of Kane Corns, but I think they're the sort of side that could really slide down the ladder. And Rankin plays them at home round 1. So should score pretty well. And I reckon I'll back him in there. He also, I think he's got Essendon round 2 as well. And I think I'm bullish on the Dons. I always say every year, this is our year. But I really don't think it is. I think he kicks a bag against us as well. So there's that one too. Also, he's got North, who, again, I did say they won't be too bad. Round 3, I think it's still a given. Plays them at home, so should thrive off the atmosphere. Gold Coast, a People First Stadium. Geelong is a bit of a tricky one, but it is at home. And then they've got GWS. So the 2 gather round games, the 2 Adelaide Oval games, one of them is gather round. So the 2 home games in a row. I think the point that it's taken me 2 minutes to get to this point. Apologies, but thanks to everyone for being patient and just listening to me ramble. But I think Rankin, if you're going to pick him, yes, you can get him a lot cheaper. But I reckon the best time to own him is at the start of the season. And I reckon he could really fire out the blocks. I think he pushes up the ground a little bit more. We also hear that every year. Mid-minutes could go up. But I reckon he's super dangerous. And I think he had one score that was like 40 last year. Might have been against Port. I'm not really sure. But other than that, I think his numbers are quite consistent, apart from when he got suspended, and then there's that NDHP. And I remember saying to Shorty that, because he has Rankin, and I really liked the pick, and I said, I think the only way I could see myself going Rankin is if one of these 4 players gets injured, and then you're stuck. And well, that's exactly what happened. That's literally what happened. Mateus went down, Rankin come in. There's other players like there is Parker, there is Sanders. Both have a terrible buy, and it's an awkward price, particularly the forward line. You kind of want to hold on to them for the most part of the year. I don't know if Rankin has that buy. I'll have to look at that in a second. That's poor preparation from me. But I just think he's just a really safe pick. Like, look at these scores. Start of the year wasn't too crash hot. Pretty tough opposition there. But it really improved. It got really good between the back half of the year. It was just a shame he got injured when he did and then suspended. And the 49 against Port was pretty stiff. But other than that, it's been really consistent. So I kind of want to back him in. It's a pod move because I think he's only at 18% owned, I reckon he is. But that's low ownership in the forward line because everyone's got the exact same players. It's just one of those ones. Now I want to see the buys quickly. I think it's the round 12 buy. It is, yeah. So this is the buy that's going to hurt a lot of sides, and I like it because Rankin, I didn't think he doesn't have that buy. So if you're going to start a Parker or a Sanders, you're gonna have that. Like, we're not going to have these rookies at that time. We're not going to. I don't think it's going to hurt us too much. So buy preparation and diversification around this side is sort of key. Like, these two will be gone by then. So I don't think it's going to hurt all that much. But I like the Rankin pick. Not so much him as a player, but it's a little bit of a draft strategy. It balances out the structure. Now I want to turn this buy thing off. I'll just leave it at round 2 because I don't know how to do it. I don't know what's going on there. I'll just leave it on leak. He'll be a nice loophole. And DR did propose a really good point in his team update. So not starting a loophole. I don't want to do that because they're going to be dead rookies that do eventuate through the year. Carnage happens, and it is what it is. I don't want 2 or 3 rookies on my bench that aren't playing. So I'm happy to just straight up see Bon and Pally and see what happens. And then next week I can chuck the C on leak, and I'm sure other buyers will start really kicking in. But yeah, we'll keep going with the team. So I like paying up for the forwards. These two, you could get Rankin in a bit cheaper. Don't get me wrong. He will drop. I reckon he can drop below 450 after a couple of stinkers. That's stiff, I know. And kudos if you can grab him then. But I think he's definitely top 6. He has to be top 6. And I think the Crows have a real chip on their shoulder. And more importantly, it eliminates a dud on my field at F5. I just don't want it. I can see why people are going for Lynch. I really do. I see the appeal in it. But gut feel, it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. It really does. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to work out. And if it does, so be it. But at least I've got someone that I think is going to be top of their line. I think that's where you try to build a team around. So there is that. Jack McRae, lock him in. Nothing's come out at the moment to say he's not going to be a good pick. Bailey Smith, likewise, I think he can do at least 100, 105, like minimum, because he's going to be playing midfield. I mean, he's not going to be playing off half forward, where he was pretty damaging, particularly in 2021. He's playing that half forward role for the Dogs, one of their best players in the finals. He won't be playing wing. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I'm going to see him slot straight in that midfield, so should be pretty highly owned. Caleb Daniel, lock him in. Hewitt, lock him in as well. I think these, like, what else do you pick? And I'm not really sure. So, yeah, rookies are few and far between. I've got me mate's niece knocking on my door. I don't know if you heard that. Doesn't matter. It's nearly over anyway. And then Berry and Davidson. So Davidson's playing on the wing, I'm pretty sure, for a source of DR's team update, which really helped me out because, forward rookies I'm just not sure about. And Berry looks to be best 22 as well. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not really sure. I love the idea of maybe not going to Davidson just because I don't know. I like DPP. I like DPP rookies. I had 2 rookies last year. I think it was Cadman and Tom Berry. Both didn't have DPP. I held them for a while, and when buys started to really kick in, it didn't do me any favors. So if there's a world where a base price rookie in the midfield can really pop out and be a lock for us, like a Gross type, Gross or Gross, whatever his name is, and then swing Kako down forward. I love that. I love that swing, and Hewitt has that too. So that's something I'm really trying to like weigh up. Not quite sure, but look, they're just rookies. We don't have to really overanalyze it too much. And then, of course, me flex is Ashcroft. There was Matty Flynn, but it's as simple as trying to save a little bit more money. And then set in forget in the ruck. I just want to back him in. And I just reckon there's way too much grey area with Matt Flynn. One thing I'm hearing, he's going good. Next thing I'm hearing, he's struggling. He's slow at training. And Bailey Williams is ahead of him. They got him over there to be that second ruck. I think he will be second ruck. I reckon he averages 75 to 80. I reckon Flynn's going to be one of those ones where he is a good pick, but it's not going to be curtains if you don't start him. But it's definitely going to be curtains if you don't start Ashcroft. Having Ashcroft there allows me only to load up on more rookies. Like the more of these top 10 draft pick rookies, I think the better, because this is an incredible draft. We've just had a really great draft, and I think we're looking at an absolute future of champions and young talent, and I'm super bullish on them. I followed them a little bit through their juniors, not too much, just watched a lot of APS, and it's these same names that you see pop up. So, yep, lock them in. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, this is the early February team update. It's a bit of a ramble. I think this is the biggest ramble I've had on any sort of team update. Nearly 50 minutes onto the StreamYard. So yeah, I'm pretty keen. I think if anything was to change, it would be maybe I do back in George's boy Garcia. I bring him back in for Rankin, and then maybe Sullivan to Hollands, and then we move something elsewhere. Maybe get Brayshaw to Butters, secure a little bit more of an Uber premium team. But I'm looking at Uber rookies, and I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not many. I think we've got about 3 or 4 different players to DR and maybe Janath as well. So very similar teams, very similar structures, but yeah, it's just a like for like. You can't have the same team. So yeah, we'll back it in for now, and things will change over the preseason. But yeah, I'm just gonna just roll with it, and yeah, feel free to just comment down whatever. I'll take advice off anyone. I don't care if you're ranked inside the top 50 last year, or if you're outside, you had a bad year and you're outside the top 50K. Like, everyone's got something to bring to the table, and I'll take any sort of criticism here. And if there's any players that are really obvious that I don't have, let me know. Let me know who's there, and I'll try and improvise and work a way where I can fit them in. But at this point in time, I'm pretty happy with the side. Going really light in the midfield with the premiums, just knowing that there's some really good high-end draft talent to come in there and pull their weight. So I end it here. A couple of quick housekeeping things as well. So yeah, I'm not going to say I've been struggling, but it's been a pretty crap start to the season for myself. A few personal things dealing with outside of like Supercoach. So I haven't been on too many like Swordplay team reveals, and haven't done too much content. So really trying to, well, I'm actually living at my mates at the moment, because yeah, we're living with a couple of roommates. It didn't work out. So myself and my best mate are actually moving in together in a month or so, our own place, our own privacy, which should be pretty good. But it's just been really up in the air. I've been moving around. I've had 3 different living situations within like 3 months almost. So yeah, we move very soon. We'll be a lot more established, and yeah, I'll be able to really start ripping into content when a lot of my stuff isn't packed away in the shed and in boxes and stuff like that. So yeah, just sort of been dealing with that, and yeah, a couple of other things as well, but it's all good. I mean, onwards and upwards. We're looking at a really good season, and only 38 days away until the season actually kicks off in Supercoach, that is. So like, I cannot wait. I think I speak for many. I cannot wait. By your mate's nieces banging on the window. That was pretty loud. Probably a good time to wrap it up anyway. But yeah, it's going to be a great season, and really can't wait to dig into the Supercoach Swordplay pod. It's going to be a ripper. We're doing some great things. We've just invested a lot of money into our rugby tops, which I think they're going to be elite. They'll look fantastic. So make sure you order yourself one of those. The guide will be out. they're available for pre-order, so make sure you get on them. The amount of work that's gone into those is absolutely crazy. And then I'll be doing my own show as well. So Chit Chat with Spillsy, completely irrelevant to Supercoach on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, just sort of a little bit like, you come into work on a Monday and there's always some controversy. I want to assess that. I want to be like first in on that. Bit of a round so far set up and just do a bit of a hotline as well. Have people sharing their thoughts and their opinions about the round and just a bit of a laugh and yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to that anyway, just to distract everyone from the Supercoach because there's more to it than just Supercoach. But that's me sorted, guys. Thanks for watching. If you got this far, really appreciate it. Cannot wait for this year. It's gonna be an absolute ripper. But I'll leave it there. Take care, everyone. Look after yourselves, and let me know what you reckon of the side. Open to any sort of input and criticism. But yeah, I'm pretty stoked with it. But that's it from me. Look after yourselves. Take it easy, and we'll see you guys in the next video.